government says investigations into corruption cases are ongoing, with 280 cases currently under review and at least 20 expected to have their dockets completed soon. Speaking to Emefa Adeti earlier, Minister for Communications Felix Kwakye Ofosu stressed that the Office of the Attorney General cannot act extrajudicially or conduct so-called speedy trials, noting that the Attorney General does not convict but only present cases for the courts to determine.
280 cases, different cases of corruption that have been looked into. Indeed, you recall that the President set up the Oral Preparatory Committee, and their task was just to put together information relating to these alleged cases. They presented a report with the 280 cases, and I can tell you that the Attorney General has commissioned investigations into each of them. You see, the report itself could not have formed the basis for any legal action against anybody because they were just reports. It's like you coming to tell me that your cameraman has done the ABCD. I cannot simply say that because you have said it, then I hold him and throw him into jail. I mean, it would not make sense.
How then did we put a value on it, on how much we could recover?
No, so for instance,
that's an estimate. It's
an estimate. So that if this phone costs 200 cedis and it was stolen, that is the amount involved. If you were held accountable for stealing it, it means that you had engaged in corruption to the tune of 200 Ghana. So you put all the figures involved together. There are some that you can recover. Others may yet be difficult because of the nature of the offense. But the point I'm making is that all the 280 cases are receiving attention. I can tell you that more than 100 people have been hauled in for questioning. Some have been arrested. Some were detained for some time. Some have been granted bail. And others too are in court. There are over 20 cases whose dockets are almost done and will be going to court. The Attorney General has already proceeded to court on a number of those cases. So everything is being done to fully implement Operation Cover All It. I understand that because of the pervasive nature of the corruption in the recent past, people want to see results and they want it done in a rapid fashion. Government appreciates that fully, except that oral itself has to be done in accordance with Ghanaian law. We cannot act extrajudicially. So anybody accused of wrongdoing must be taken through a process, and the process will end up in a court.
Well, he also criticized the Agenda 111 hospital project introduced under the erstwhile Akufo-Addo administration, describing it as rushed and driven more by political expediency than careful planning.
They initiated a program that was going to cost $2 billion, and yet did not have $2 billion to finance it. So it was always going to be an albatross around the neck of government.
Is this to suggest that every project that is started by a certain government will usually have funds available
so
to finish
there are different types of projects. For example, if we're doing a 3-unit classroom block, classroom block, that one you can use the trickles that often comes by way of GOG funding to complete it. But when you design a $2 billion project, you need to have dedicated funding. Otherwise, it's going nowhere. So it depends on the kind of project you are doing. That is why when we were doing those mega projects, we had money. Look at the Terminal 3. Money had been secured for it. The KJJ market, we had over $250 million from Deutsche Bank or so to complete it. Look at the Pakadam project. We had close to $400 million from the Indian Exim Bank to undertake it. UGMC at $270 million. Radio Hospital at $250 million to complete. So all these projects were funded. So when you inherit it, all you need to do is to draw down to carry out any activity that is left to operationalize it. But in the case of Agenda 111, they didn't leave anything. So it was more like slogans that they were singing. They tried to scratch around for money here, money there through within government's own budget in order to be able to do the project. But it was obvious that the money was not forthcoming. That is how come they were not able to operationalize. Because how can you plan to build 111 hospitals and not open even one? Government has decided that it is not going to be able to scramble $2 billion or whatever. I think at the last instance, we need about $1.5 billion to complete it. And therefore, it is obvious that finding that kind of money at this time will be difficult. So we have to do it in phases. Okay. So this year, money has been set aside in the budget to complete 10 of them. And then as we go forward, more and more will be brought on stream. That is a more sustainable way of addressing it rather than spreading ourselves thin and looking for money where it does not exist.
Well, on economic initiative, the government says entities seeking to participate will be formally registered as part of efforts to ensure coordination and accountability. According to the Minister for Government Communications, the program is also expected to drive import substitution by boosting local production and strengthening domestic value chains.
Basically, it's an economy that never sleeps, that works around the clock, and that is able to create additional space for businesses both in the private and public sector to flourish, and in so doing create more job opportunities for our youth. That essentially is what the 24-hour economy. Mind you, it is also complemented by an accelerated export development program, because which first aims at achieving import substitution, so that those things that we import that we can manufacture here, in which we have comparative advantage, we do so, and then we switch to an export orientation where we are now able to export products and be able to earn foreign exchange.